Okay, hello and welcome back. We are continuing with the last stream of our life, beginnings and always, where we grow up with Cove Holden. We have gone through steps 1 and 2. We're working on step 3. And apparently, technically, step 2 is adolescent, step 3 is teenager, but I kind of conflate the two, so I don't know what the difference is. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I will have a link to the base game in the description. If I get to any of the DLC, then I will include a link to the Step 3 DLC. There is a Step 4, but it's not like Steps 1 through 3. It's just basically an epilogue. And there are Step 4 DLC. There was a wedding DLC for if you romance Cove. There will be DLC if you decide to romance one of the other two options. In this playthrough, I chose to stay Cove's friend rather than romance him because I figure a lot of people would just automatically clock the romance and stick with that, and I wanted to give people an option to see the friendship route. So since I hadn't seen the romance route, I started playing that offline. And I will say this, it's adorable. With the crush, Cove tends to be a little more blushy and just kind of gets a little nervous around you. If you do pick love for your level of affection with him, you can set how much initiative Cove shows in showing affection towards you. Either you can have him show no initiative and you're the one who decides how much or how little affection you show each other, or medium where Cove shows some initiative, but you still get an option to choose how much affection you show, like when you go to meet Cove and Cliff outside their house while they're waiting to see who the new neighbor's going to be since the mean grandparents aren't moving in. You can greet Cove with a hug or a kiss. I went with a hug because I'm like, his dad's standing right there. So I doubt Mr. Holden minds. They probably have expected the two of you to get together. And then there's high initiative where Cove, you don't get as much say in that. So it depends on how much or how little say you want and the amount of affection that you show each other in front of others or alone. But it's really sweet and adorable. So if you like that, if you like the whole childhood friends to sweetheart thing, I definitely recommend doing that route. But I'm doing the friends route because I want others who can't quite resist temptation to see what happens if you have the guts, if you manage to resist temptation. And I also appreciate, and I know I mentioned this before, but you get to decide if your character is arrow or ace. For people who don't know, that's aromantic and asexual. Meaning you have no romantic desire for people or no sexual desire for people. They are not the same. There are people who are asexual but are not aromantic, and there are people who are aromantic but not asexual, and there are people who are both, and obviously people who are neither. So I appreciate that you can do that, and you can choose who you're attracted to. Men, women, neither, both, non-binary. So that's a bit of a rant, but basically I'm saying that I really appreciate that they're trying to be inclusive, and also I don't think I showed it, maybe I did, but there is an option to have your character wear a scarf or a head covering of some type. It can be a hijabi, it can be just like, I think the Sikhs wear them, but it's not the same as what Muslims wear. So I appreciate that that's an option, and you can pick which color you get. So maybe I will do a route like that where you end up wearing the scarf. I think once you're past a certain age, you're either required to wear a scarf or it is an option to wear it. But anyway, also regarding telling Cove about your dad trying to bribe you to like him. If you don't tell him when you're in step 1, there is an option to tell him in step 2. I don't think there's an option in step 3 because I haven't gotten that far. Obviously, in this playthrough, we told him in step 1. But if you don't tell him in step 1, there's an opportunity to tell him in step 2, and his reaction at that point is very different. In order to... If I wanted to show that, I'd have to basically go back all the way to step 1, avoid telling Cove, and then play through everything to step 2, and answer like that. So that's something else that you can explore. And, this is just one possible route. You've seen how many choices you're given and how many options. So, grab my dice. So there's plenty of ways to explore this. Maybe I picked options you didn't like. Then download the game and play it yourself and see what other options are out there. This was never intended to be a default playthrough. This is meant to show you this is the game. This is one route you can do. Go out there, get the game yourself, play it yourself, explore the options yourself. And one thing that I realized, I found out later, was once you've played a moment, you can't replay it unless you go back to a save. So it's a good thing I've been saving this. Each time I finish a moment. Because in my offline playthrough, I guess you could say, I did not tell Cove about the money thing in either step 1 or step 2, but I was curious about how it played out if you did tell him in step 2. So I went back to that save and played through it, and it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, I do recommend, if you like being able to replay moments, definitely save after each one. So anyway, here we go. Talk. Another placid summer day was drifting by. Your daydreams were chasing each other, then sticking around long enough to become a firm plan. But you really didn't mind that right now. The tapping worked its way into those dreams. Focusing more, you realized it was coming from your window. A grin cropped on your face as though it had been waiting all day for this moment. Heading to the window, you could see Cove outside. His habit of climbing this way really was a true Covism. He'd rather scale your house than wait a couple extra minutes for you to come down. It reminds me of Clarissa Explains It All when her best friend Sam would climb in the window. Okay, here we go. I remembered to grab my dice. I grabbed them while I was talking earlier, but I didn't wait until the first decision to actually reach my drawer and grab it. So it's progress. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just kind of a thing for the stream. Sometimes if I'm really torn, I will do it off stream. But usually I have a good, I know, I roll the 2. I know what I'm going to do. It's easy for me to choose. Dr. Cove had to help him. Once his mostly inside, he took it to help save the last business entrance. He needed the hut despite how many times he'd done this. Hey. Also, I picked a different hairstyle for Cove as he got older. Why not? Hey, Jules. Hey to you. Oh, I forgot to mention this. They also have a voice name DLC. And that's, he says there are set names, basically of people who back the Kickstarter, and he will actually say that name. And you're romancing him, and he says the name that you picked. It's so sweet. So the name that I picked in my off-stream playthrough was Jess, and that was actually an option. So I was like, cool. And even my birth name is on the list, but it's actually a fairly common name. It's not unusual. But surprise, surprise, Elizabeth, Lizzie, and Liz are not on the list. Eliza is, but that'd be kind of odd. Elizabeth and Eliza? Were your parents just not creative in picking your names? Anyway, hey to you. Think my mom should invest in some bigger windows? George laughed at that and took one last look at his exclusive entrance. He thought about the teasing look on his face. Maybe. Coach's voice came out quietly with a strangely pleased smile on his face. Did something happen? Cove opened his mouth to answer, only to have your phone ringing cut him off. You both turned to where it rested a little further up on your bed. It was still face down, so you couldn't tell who was calling. It's okay. Attention shot back to Cove. He smiled at you awkwardly.
Don't worry about it.
Go check. It could be important. I'll wait. Thanks. You shuffled forward and scooped a little noisemaker into your hand. You flipped it over and checked the caller ID. Oh, and on the cell phone, if you choose to decorate it with the keychain that Cove bought you, he comments on it. It's Miranda. You should answer it. I'm going to say hi, too. With a nod, you accepted the call and set it to speaker. Hi, Miranda. Hi. There's something off about her tone. Cove met your gaze, and you saw the same confusion in his expression.
Have you heard from Terry?
Or did you hear about her from Cove? Huh? No, she hasn't called me, but Cove is with me right now. Hey. Oh, hi, Cove. I'm kind of sad that we don't get to romance Miranda or Terry, because the other options are Derek and Baxter. If you saw when I was checking the cheat sheet. But I mean, look at Miranda, she's so cute. Why can't I romance a girl? Why do this have to be guys? Is that what you were going to say? He shook his head no before realizing that wasn't a good enough answer when one person couldn't actually see it.
No.
No? Terry hasn't called me today either. Is something wrong? At that, Miranda couldn't hold herself together any longer. The muffled sobs from the other side of the line were unmistakable. Terry doesn't like me anymore, if she ever did. What? That doesn't sound right. You're probably her best friend out of all of us. Yeah, why do you think that? She sniffled and eyes a pause as you could hear her tip her phone to her other hand. Terry was here the other night watching movies with me. We were up super late. She realized her parents probably went to bed, so they couldn't pick her up. My mom and dad were definitely asleep then. Dad works early. I tried telling her it was okay to just spend the night and she could text her parents what happened, but Terry really didn't want to. Glanced at Cove, real equally unsure as you about where the story was going. It didn't sound like a friendship-ending situation. I suggested things to make it easier if she was nervous, like she could sleep by herself in my room while I stayed somewhere else. Yeah. And I said we didn't have to sleep at all. We could have kept watching movies until one of our parents woke up. I wouldn't have minded. I know not everyone can do sleepovers, but Terry wouldn't even tell me what was really wrong or what I could do to help. I thought we could tell each other anything. I guess I was wrong. Did she stay in the end?
No.
No, we got too loud in the kitchen and my dad woke up. He offered to drive her home when he heard what was wrong. She texted me apologizing for my dad having to do that when he needed rest, but that was it. She wasn't talking to me anymore. You could hear every bit of the tears and heartbreak in Miranda's voice. This continued to be a shock for your neighbor. But Cove recovered and spoke gently. I'm really sorry.
I mean...
There's no way Terry wanted to make you feel this bad, or that she's just done with your friendship because of this. Miranda's sniffling continued. You hope she had plenty of tissues handy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. We will have an option to go, I have no fucking clue. Part of my language. So, at this point, you should know by now. Sometimes I curse. That's just the way I am. Okay. About my D10. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 0. Going by the dice. 9. Not a big deal, honestly. I feel like that would make it worse. So let's actually pick a D4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It'll be okay. There it is. That's enough. I lost the cursor. It had to be. I couldn't imagine any alternative. Miranda's voice sounded a little more collected after finishing her story, but you knew that the crying was far from being done. I thought she would reach out to one of you by now. Maybe she's not talking to anyone. Yeah, or maybe she's grounded? Maybe she's being punished and has no way of letting you know? Sorry for bothering you and Cove about this. Hey, we're here for you.
Right.
You can tell us things. Thank you. Her shaken voice finally conveyed a little optimism, or at least relief that she wasn't dealing with it entirely on her own.
Is that all right?
If you do hear from her or anything, could you let me know if she's all right? We can. Thanks. Let's talk later, okay? Bye. 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 Bye, 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 bye. Oh, now I'm thinking Backstreet Boys. Stupid brain. That didn't really seem like an especially productive point to end the call, though you also weren't sure where to go from there. Looking at Cove, his face seemed as locked as yours. With no alternative, you hung up and put your phone back on your bed. Cove crossed his arms, a frown creasing his face. He began to pace the length of the room, really trying to put the pieces together in his head in a way that made sense. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. One. Again. That all you know is 1? Then duck into my eyes. Biting the inside of your cheek, you stared at the ground. Hearing Miranda so distraught like that was not easy. What about Terry? The uncertainty was tearing you up. The empty side of your head before learning this was not helping you now. You couldn't put 2 thoughts together, and flopping back on your bed, you stared into space. We should probably try calling Terry. Cove's voice smashed it, drag you back to some grounding. He stopped pacing, but he still saw a perturbed look on his face. Yeah, I'm worried about her too. I wonder if the vocabulary as you're growing up changes, gets more expanded more, using bigger words like perturbed. Who would think he's perturbed as a kid, but as an 18-year-old, yeah, I would know that. He bounced up and moved to his side, ready to act on whatever plan you two could have come up with, and I I completely forgot what he suggested if I talk about perturbed. So started with the easiest thing. He pulled out his phone and called Terry. So let it ring, and ring, and ring, and ring. Terry didn't answer. It wasn't even an option to leave a voice message. Uh-oh. Your shoulders plunged and Cove was even more troubled, if that was possible. He turned to you as if for some lifeline. Could you try calling? I'm going to send a text, just like, hey, I was trying to reach you, call me, or something. Yeah. He took up the phone once more. Unfortunately, after another set of interminable rings, the line went dead. No answer, no voicemail. Hanging up, he saw Cove visibly deflated. He rubbed his arm, and eyes distant, openly struggling with the whole affair. I don't like this at all. They're fighting, we barely know anything, and we're supposed to just wait and see? The fight had only been a minute since he texted Terry. Cove checked his phone again. He was desperate for progress, for something, and he frowned as he watched him. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 0. He stayed silent. There was nothing you could think to say. All you could do now was hope that Terry was alright. It was up to her to reach back out now. But hit your own phone in vain. You could consider sending a text message too. That would even help. What if Terry lost her phone? This was making you feel all twisted up. You could see the same sort of discomfort on Cove's face. There was something consoling in that, at least. Words drifted from his mouth like a feeble breeze. It'll be fine. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. You could hear it in both of your voices how much you wanted to give and receive reassurance. You tried to believe the sentiments, weak as they were. What do we even say if we do hear from one of them? His face was dimmed as he attempted to answer his own question. It was written all over his face, but he had no idea how to tackle any of this. slowly come to another halt, like a gear winding down. Very silent thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna roll dice for this. If it could be done until you knew what she thought of this, that much was certain. Cove nodded slightly in agreement. For several minutes, you both remained there in silence, drowning in your thoughts. Eventually, Cove turned around. I'm gonna text Terry that we already know what's going on. Maybe she'll have an easier time talking to us because she won't have to pretend or explain. Yeah, let's go with this one. Way too overwhelmed. Upset your voice got caught in your throat as your thoughts were pulled in too many directions. Cove took your silence and said to go ahead. Cove's fingers worked furiously yet carefully. He was giving his full attention to his words. He sat up next to him and looked, trying to watch what he was writing. Cove rapidly typed out, "Hey, Joel and I really want to talk to you. Miranda told us what happened. Please reply back." And sent. It was done. Just have to see what happens now. Oh my gosh. Some of these responses is like, do you even hear yourself? But, I mean, it might make sense depending on the character. This is me being concerned more as much as Joel, so. Yeah, so. I didn't read it out loud. Yeah, I hope that she gets back to us pretty soon. Okay. Me too. From just his face, you could tell that wasn't going to do much for him. He was going to be stuck thinking about this until Terry replied. A small noise escaped his lips. All the frustration of the situation crumbled away from his face, and he spoke softly. "Thanks, Jules. I'm glad it's not just me with all this happening." He took one last look at his phone and then put it away. His effort at a smile was meager, but earnest.
It's okay.
You can just forget about it for a while. Terry will talk to us when she wants to. My headphones battery is dying. I just found the end of the charge. Alright, for strength. Okay. No, definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. Well, let's go with that one. That sounds good to me. And you meant it, except with your own concern away. The last thing you wanted was to fight with Cove. The sun stretched out in what felt like hours, but likely wasn't that long before there was a knock at your bedroom door, and Mom peeked in. "Just wanted to check in on you. Oh, Cove, when did you get here?" When she saw you were there, she opened the door all the way. Ma was standing there as well. She slipped past her wife to come inside your space. Space. I love that they acknowledged that there was a change in the laws for regarding same-sex marriage. What's going on? We're okay. It's just Miranda called earlier. She and Terry are fighting, but none of us know what's going on with Terry. Your parents exchanged meaningful looks, so it's meaning was lost on you.
I'm so sorry.
That's too bad. I'm sorry there's trouble with your friends, sweetie. Is there anything we can do to help? In the corner of your eye, you saw Cove rub his arm awkwardly, unable to add anything. No, we're just waiting to see if Terry calls or texts you as Miranda does. But we can at least help you take your mind off things while you're waiting.
Yeah.
Another great idea, Lonnie. We can get the whole gang together for some quality time. Mom gave you a soft smile and added, "This will be good, especially since it might help make up for what happened at the farmer's market." Yeah. Regarding my on-stream playthrough, I just started Step 3 there. I haven't played any of the moments. I don't know how different it is with Cove as your boyfriend. Yes, it would be wonderful. I'll go see what Liz is up to right now. She glided a few steps away and then stopped. She pivoted on her heels and raised a single finger, flashing a big smile at Cove.
It's no
And of
trouble.
course, Liz will be welcome too. Knowing your family was always there for you, that couldn't be underestimated. In fact, it meant everything to you that your mom cared so much. Oh, definitely. Just, for me, I have a pretty stable family life, and my sibling is going through some health issues, and they said they wouldn't be able to get through it all without us. And I know knowing that my family has my back has been a real, just knowing that has been so reassuring to me. And I know not everybody has that, and I wish more people had families like that. But I hope the people who don't have birth families or adopted families like this one have found other families, friends, to do that for them. I really appreciate this. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. That's nice of you.
You're welcome.
You're both very welcome. Don't sweat it, not so kiddos. These things to us. You're basically adults at this point. So I wasn't an adult yet, I was still 17. Just relax and we'll call you when it's all together. You nodded and your monks dispersed for now, springing into action for their impromptu get-together. You flopped down on your bed, feeling like you could sink into it and disappear. Cove, meanwhile, took a spot on a chair off to the side. What chair? You sighed at the same time, and Cove now pulled into a bench on it back. Gave his phone another quick check, and his eyebrows furrowed. Still nothing? Yep, this is crack time. There's something is still nothing. Yep. Cove drew the inside of his cheek as if to mimic the stress that was clearly eating away at him. Cove, what's wrong? What's really wrong? One disagreement doesn't make you act like this. That got a pointed pause in his movement. Cove was carefully trying to put his thoughts together. He spoke in a fragile voice. When people you care about, when they're unhappy with each other, there's nothing you can do. At least when you're in a fight yourself, you have some responsibility, some control over it all. I wish it didn't have to happen, but that isn't possible. So, oh well, I guess. The attempt at giving a nonchalant shrug after what that was pitiable. True, but you're right that it can't be helped.
I know.
Yeah, some of these, I can't leave it up to the dice. He replied like he could barely muster the strength to speak. Well, we just have to focus on the things we can impact, or at least try. You turned to Cove, hoping your eyes conveyed the message you were feeling better than your words. His gentle nod told you that they did. There was a question you had to ask. Is it because of what happened with your parents? Cove ran a hand through his hair, a strange smile sprang across his lips. For him, this pain struck close to his heart. Just as quick as it had come, his smile was gone, lost amidst his faraway gaze. Yeah, you got it. It's like my parents. Despite knowing him for so many years, Cove had never spoken of the years before he moved to Sunset Bird, before his parents separated, in any detail. He whispered his thoughts distantly, almost unconcerned with whether you could hear them or not. They used to fight all the time. I think they got along when I was a baby. I mean, they had to have wanted to be with each other at some point. But when I was old enough to remember anything, it was already bad. There was always something wrong, and I could never help. I just wanted them to be happy. You tried to imagine your mom breaking up, and the very idea scared you. The Cove had endured that for real. I'm sorry. Jules?
Don't worry about it.
It's okay. Despite that revelation, Cove gazed reassuringly at you. It's not like that anymore. Things are so different now, I don't even really think about it. Yeah, clearly, whatever the problem was when his parents were together, they managed to patch it up. Pyro was able to spend a summer there, and I'm sure they had their fights, but they resolved them. I mean, there was nothing to indicate otherwise in the Step 2 DLC. Step 2, both the base game and the DLC. Again, the sorrow reasserted itself. When he continued, you could barely hear him. So, I guess it's pretty obvious I haven't forgotten either. Yeah, we're going to take his hand. He shot up out of his seat as you approached, but didn't resist as you gently took his hand. Your head fell to his shoulder, and he squeezed his hand reassuringly. Down watching you with those glossy eyes. And Cove sighed contentedly, his mouth going into a soft smile. Wordlessly, you knew that he understood. You saw that peace with him there. Then he gripped your hand back, and you knew he felt that too. The two of you took a seat again, but this time side by side on your bed. Today was a lot, huh? Yeah, it was. Leaned against him, resting the side of your head onto his shoulder. You glanced up at his face. Cove watched you affectionately. That gentle gaze felt like everything was going to be okay. No matter what happens, we can make it work. His mouth pulled into a bent smile at that. He chuckled, resting your head comfortably back on his shoulder.
Me too.
I think so too. And for a while you stayed like that. A comfortable quiet fell between you, and the sun fell with it. The warming calm ended when Cove gasped sharply. He spun, half expecting to find him nursing an injury, but instead found him staring straight ahead. What?
Oh my God.
I think my phone just vibrated. Check it out. Right. He patted his pocket, fumbling in his pack, panicked, and he yanked the phone out. The force of the action nearly catapulted the device out of his grip entirely, but he caught it just in time. He was so eager. His eyes honed in on the screen. It's Terry, thank God. She says she's sorry. He looked back to you, eyes wide, as his nerves started to fray once more. What should I say? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think this one. Okay. After she's talking to Miranda. Miranda began typing. Cove was aware that his blunt words could sometimes make others bristle, even though he never meant them to hurt. Cove's phone rang nearly as soon as the message was sent. It's Sherry again. She's talking to us. She asked about what Miranda said, but wait. He leaned in, watching the conversation unfold on Cove's screen.
Right.
She's going to actually call. Cove held his breath as he waited. His circle of friends had always been small, so he'd managed to avoid the stress of seeing friends fighting. You suspected his feeling was even more keenly, both because this was so uncommon and the friend so important to him. His phone rang out. Cove jammed the answer button. He switched his phone into speaker mode, allowing you to participate in the conversation. But despite his immediate reaction, his voice lacked the same resolve when he spoke. Hey. It was tentative, a white flag floating in the wind. Jules was here, too. Hi, we've been worried about you.
Hey.
Hey, buddies. Sarah's voice was barely recognizable without her usual quick patter and energy.
Are you okay?
Are things okay? I don't know. Probably not. Cove tensed, his free hand coiling into an anxious fist. What happened? Don't you know already? Miranda explained some of it, but it doesn't make sense to us. You heard Terry sigh over the phone as she unburdened herself. Pretty much, I've got Randy's house. We decided to watch some movies she super liked that I'd never seen before. Turns out there's a lot of those. We watched one, then another, and another. We were having so much fun. Each time one finished, she had another one to share with me. I didn't really think about it at the time. I only wanted to say yes to Randy and watch her movies. She spoke wistfully, but her words were full of affection. It was Randy, you know. I wasn't thinking about my schedule or what time it was. I get it. Then I finally saw the time and, oh no, it was way too late. I already knew I couldn't stay. She took a deep breath, her voice becoming softer when she resumed talking. I was so stressed out, I just couldn't deal with it. Miranda wanted to help. She kept coming up with ways to make it better and trying to figure out why I was so upset and stuff. Trying to answer her questions, and there were so many, but I couldn't really answer all of them. I didn't even know why some of her ideas didn't work with me. It made my head ache. I solved the first problem, no Randy there, trying to help, asking all these questions and suggestions that made faster than I could even think. She gulped audibly, sniffing. Got frustrated and told her to just leave me alone, but then she wanted to talk about why I wanted that, and we started having a fight in the kitchen. We woke Randy's dad up. We told him about how I wanted to go home, but my parents couldn't get me, so Mr. Eckert offered to do it. That's nice of him. Harry groaned. I know, except because I definitely couldn't stay there, not after throwing a racket and turning it into a big deal. But I feel awful and embarrassed. Why did I yell at Randy and hurt her feelings? And I made her dad lose sleep by waking him up and having to drive me home. What do you say after that? I have no idea. I don't know where to start, and I don't want to make it worse by saying the wrong thing and fighting again. So I'm not talking. Terry, Randy isn't mad that you didn't want to stay or that you fought. She just wants to feel like you can talk to her. I mean, you can say whatever you want. She'll listen. Not talking to her at all is pretty much the only wrong way to go about it. Terry lamented mournfully on the other end of the line, but he had a point. Unless she faced Miranda again, there would be no resolution. He looked at Cove, hunched over the phone, staring pensively into it and searching for a solution. It couldn't be solved with the other tea party missing. What if you brought them in? Your phone was still free. Let's suggest calling her. What if we called Miranda? That way you could talk to her, but wouldn't have to do it alone. Cove brightened up, the concern furrow in his brow, which had taken her when Miranda first called Eve. Yeah. I mean, you could just go ahead and call Miranda without saying a thing, but I think that would make it worse in some ways.
Well...
That could work. Terry, are you up for it? She made a noise that wasn't a word, but nevertheless conveyed her hesitation and worry. But she brought it to a close with a diffusive exhalation as if pushing all negative thoughts from her body. All right, I'll do it. Cove nodded. Now that you'd received approval from everyone, you pulled out your phone and called Miranda. Set to speak for and waited for her to pick up. Luckily, she did.
Hi.
Hi, Jules. The voice was so distant as if her thoughts were elsewhere, but it was loud enough for your needs. Hey, you're on speaker. Terry's on speaker, too, on Cove's phone. Oh. She paused while she digested this information. She watched the phone screen, hoping that she wouldn't hang up as a result.
Really?
Oh, really? Yep, it's really me. Can you hear my voice all the way from your house to theirs, or then mine? I can. You and Cove exchanged looks, waiting for the wall between them to break and wondering who would be the one to do it. As the quiet dragged on, you caught Cove chewing his cheek. He must have weighed up the same question as you, whether to encourage the conversation long or leave Miranda and Terry to resolve it themselves. The answer came in the form of one sniff, followed by another, from Cove's phone.
Sorry.
Randy, I hope you still like me. What? You were the one acting as if you didn't like me. Her tone was defensive, no doubt a result of her wounds from last night and still being raw.
What?
No way. Everyone likes Randy. You're wonderful. Your eyes met Cove's. His phone was tilted towards you, capturing the call indirectly. You moved your phone closer to his, hoping that the signal was strong enough to convey every nuance of tone. Cove did likewise, bringing his cell right next to yours, even bumping against it as he shifted his grip. I didn't know what to say. The phone said I wouldn't talk to you. If I had known the answer, I'd have told you right away. Miranda murmured on the other end of the line. You didn't want to say anything I tried to do bothered you, and you could have told me you didn't know. Yeah, I think I was angry at myself. I did a dumb thing, and I didn't want to help, and I didn't want help with it. I wanted to be mad and just deal with it myself. It made me keep doing dumb things. Oh. When she spoke again, her voice was quiet, as tender and vulnerable as the words.
I'm sorry.
Staying up late watching stuff was all my fault. I had to find a way to fix it. That's what I thought, anyway. But I should have given you space. I'm sorry for being so pushy and sensitive. Hardly. Miranda Eckert having a flaw? I've never heard of such a crazy thing. Miranda let out a ghost of a giggle. Cove cleared his throat. Maybe you should call each other now? Sorry.
Sure.
Can do. Thanks for giving me the kick in the butt to do this already. Mandy, I'm going to call you right now. Bye, Jules and Cove. She hung up after squeezing in another quick bite, but not giving you a Cove winter's responding kind. Miranda laughed, and I tinkling gently, like wind chimes in a summer breeze.
You're really
Thank you
nice.
for listening and helping. I'm going to hang up now so I can answer Terry's calls. Bye. Talk to you soon. Miranda hung up, still chuckling softly as your call ended. The room felt emptier without the other voices in it. Cove expelled a sigh that crashed through the newly fallen silence. He dropped his arms to his sides, letting his head hang down like a puppet at rest. Good friend. So relieved, okay. I was scratching his face, his expression cloudy. I think I need to find better ways for dealing with conflict because that was awful. I think he did okay given the circumstances. Cove meekly smiled as he rubbed his eyes, weariness creeping over him, and mumbled his next words. We can talk about it another day. Conflict resolution methods?
Huh?
Oh, I don't know. Forget it. Your eyebrows were cool, and then a light bulb went off in your head. Well, Miranda called. Didn't you say there's something you wanted to say? His original visit had been thrown so off-kilter that it was a struggle to lend your memory back to when he first turned up. Now you did, though. You remember that he had been perky when he'd arrived this afternoon. Is it good news? He brushed his hand against his nice folded arm shyly. Well, yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure it counts as news or even good. It just is what it is. I'm happy about it, so. You were curious, but you didn't want to push public. You did want to speak about it. You don't have to say anything, but if it makes you feel good, I think it is good news. Cove chuckled awkwardly, a hand creeping up to ruffle the hair on the back of his head. It's fine. If you want to hear, I can tell you. He shifted on his feet, as if a different posture might give him the support he needed for the conversation. I don't want to make it a big deal, but I not kind of. I just know that what my sexuality is right now. Oh, a real subject change, huh? He chuckled. True, it was unexpected, but you were excited that Cove had come to understand himself more. I'm glad he wanted to share that with you. That's great. Tell me more? Cove drew a breath, straightening up. I'm demisexual, so, most of the time I don't really have those kinds of feelings, physical wants and stuff. Only in some situations when I'm already really emotionally and romantically connected to someone, I sometimes think about anything sexual. It's only with them. I hadn't heard the term until pretty recently, and it just made a lot of sense once I knew what it meant. I had a word that fit how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of romantic because I've never had a preference for a specific gender or anything. So, yeah. That makes sense. But without before, being so open and direct about a matter that personal, which you were sure he spent one time trying to figure out, seemed to be kind of weird for him. Despite that, there's a small, proud smile on his face, and when he looked up again, his gaze was steadfast. All this talk of sexuality made you reflect about your own. I don't remember what I said. I think I basically said they're romantic and pansexual. Though they were known for years, though, it was heartwarming that he had reached a point where he felt similarly capable of discussing his own. He felt even closer. He felt the tiredness deep in the marrow of your bones. It had been a trying day, and everything was neatly wrapped up, for today at least, and you had earned the rest. You'd had some good talk to come out of it, not only knowing each other better, but yourself, too.
Hey,
we should probably head downstairs soon. If your moms are still wanting everyone to get together? Yeah, that's right. When you springing your step, you led the way out of your room. You got downstairs to find the others already assembled and waiting.
Hi.
Hello. Hey. Good to see you both.
Hey!
Hi. Here we were, trying to corral everyone into a group. Because you were already upstairs this whole time. Of course we were together. You said Joel could stick with me, or did you forget? Oh, okay. So Mr. Holden told him. Okay. The statement was meaningless to your family, who looked to each other for answers in vain. Mr. Holden, who got the message loud and clear, seemed embarrassed. He chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of his neck. Oh, that's right. You told him. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was doing. So stupid. Oh, son, you're always going to remind me of that one. I can't let you live it down yet. Can you hear exactly what the secret is? The suspense is killing us.
Right.
Alright, I better get everyone up to speed. He held up his hands, palms out, pacifying his audience, perhaps holding them up as a shield in advance. That first date I met Jules, I'd been worried about Cove being alone for the summer.
Well.
There weren't a lot of kids around, and he wasn't exactly on the best terms with me at that time. Glanced around at your family, gauging their responses. I felt like this was my one shot, so I kind of offered them $20 to be friends with Cove, and added that they couldn't tell him about it. Liz gasped, Miles staring incredulously at Mr. Holden, while Mom's eyebrows had retreated to her hairline. You and Cove, already knowing the story, were the only ones unaffected. After a while, I really did honestly forget it even happened. He raised his hands higher and now level with his shoulders. Not a bad idea, you thought. If Mom felt inclined to throw a cushion at him, he brought a nice bucket in time. I know, that's bad, but I've had so many great ideas over the years, it's hard to keep track of them all. Cove smiled, placing his hands on his hips and shaking his head at his father's antics.
Seriously?
Can't believe you. So, also, I totally can. The moms were less indulgent. The shock had ebbed away to displeasure. Mom's foot was tapping rapidly as she frowned at the next-door neighbor, while Mom had her arms crossed over her chest and her lips pursed. I'm sorry, Jules, and I'm sorry to your parents, too. That was way out of bounds. Don't worry about it. Everything worked out. The moms gave each other the look, where they seemed to communicate with eyes alone. All right, well, that's that then, and it won't happen again.
Absolutely.
It definitely won't.
All right.
Good. It was a little surprising that they were laying him off the hook, but on the other hand, it was a long time ago now, and you were sure your moms remembered those painful early days of Cove's arrival, too. Mr. Holden wasn't a potential bad influence anymore, so a lecture would be pretty moot. Instead, your mom gave him a lenient smile.
In that case...
Now that it's settled, why don't we find something to do? Lots of agreement cascaded through the group and a couple whiffs at the suggestion. Mr. Holden's shoulders slumped with a release of tension. He brought his hands down, tucking them away into his pocket. How about cards? There was a murmur of interest from the others. Sounds fun. Most of the group figured to play, but Mr. Holden was near. I think I'll sit this one out. There's a fun in that. Join in. We're not too angry with you. Yes, and I know there's a lot of people. We can make it work. Mr. Holden shrank into himself, embarrassed by their attention. Dad, you love playing cards. We do it at our house all the time. Yeah, remember the time I played over there? Those were serious games. We made bets with real money and everything. Dad? Mr. Holden broke under the combined force of everyone's attention. Cove and Jules, you're adults now. You deserve to know the truth. I used to throw the card game so you could win. I put up a good fight, but I always made sure to lose a lot more rounds than I won. Bud with the end of his ponytail, clearly distressed at the second great secret he is revealing today. I know people want to be taken seriously and fake wins don't mean as much, but I couldn't help myself. It's so much better when everyone else got the chance to be victorious. Kyra knew and went along with it. Cove laughed in disbelief, that this was the thing his dad stressed about hiding after the other stunts he's pulled over the years. So what? Lots of parents do that. I hadn't guessed it, sure, though looking back it makes sense. That's right. What's the big deal, Cliff? You can finally take the kid gloves off and give them a run for their money. Maybe even actual money in your case. Mr. Holden smiled clearly, his gaze lowering. I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Why?
And why not? He waved his hands expansively, the movements fluid and vague. Just actually, I am something of a card shark. I used to make lots of fast cash off games. Casual players don't have a shot unless it's a game that's pure luck. Cove's jaw hung open, his wide eyes fixed on his father. Really? There was a touch of amazement, even admiration, nestled among the sharks. The other members of the Hunt family exchanged looks, ranging from religious disbelief to Mom's intrigue, with Mom somewhere in the middle between the two. You can't simply make a claim like that. Expect us to go along with it. Let's see you back it up, shark man. Mr. Holden gave her a crooked smile, his demureness quickly being replaced with the confidence of someone very skilled or very misguided. You sure about that? Definitely. We gotta see this so-called non-casual player in action. Well, I might be able, though who knows? Maybe I've gotten rusty. His coyness continued to rile the gang up, and he's getting a kick out of it now.
Please?
Come on, please.
All right.
Oh, all right. I can go stop doing tricks. Great. So being at his father while Mom clapped Mr. Holden on the back. They started to get a deck of cards while the rest of you settled in for the game. Arms were dope. Mr. Holden wasted no time in proving his words true, wiping the floor with all of you. Played several rounds, even switching games, but none of you were a match for him. That was how the alliance came to be forged. The rest of you joined forces against Mr. Holden only, just to try increasing the odds of beating him. With your combined efforts, you pulled out a few victories, yet it was just a challenge. He's clearly a professional. If these were his skills now, rusty with disuse, you couldn't even imagine what a deadly opponent he had been in the past. Despite that, you still had fun. Working cooperatively actually fostered a sense of camaraderie with the others. Mr. Holden didn't appear fazed by this strategy. You actually wondered whether the increased challenge made it more interesting for him. You spent the rest of the afternoon together with your family and the Holdens having fun. It was an interesting evening for sure, with many discoveries for everyone. It was freeing, and yet simultaneously you felt more tied together than you had been before. We've actually menu super quick because here we go. So we have all of these. Now this is from when you tell Cove in the step 1 about Mr. Holden paying you. And in step 2, there's this one missing. That's, if I remember correctly, that's the one where you tell Cove about his dad paying you, what they just talked about. And I'm not sure what this one is from. Oh yeah, that's right before you move on to step 3. Someone put together a guide to how to get to all get all the CGs. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. At least one more, maybe two more, maybe we'll finish all the base moments. So I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. So something I've noticed is with each progressive step, the moments get longer. Just a minute. Okay, here we go. At least this one, maybe one more. Cove pushes fell to his feet from where he had been bent down in the sand, stretching out his back and groaning softly. A tired breath slipped past his lips as he wiped his brow, looking out over the shore. It looks great. He stood beside him, joining in the surveying of the sand. It almost seemed to sparkle beneath the midday sun. The two of you had been out on the beach since sunrise, swinging up and down the beach, looking for various debris, and the work had paid off. Using a hand to shield your eyes from blinding rays, you glanced across the way where the other volunteers from Orca were gathered. They were easily recognizable by the high-vis vests they wore. For people who don't know, that's the bright orange vest with reflective tape on them. It looked as though everyone was about ready to wrap things up for the day. Yeah, let's go with this one. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, no, there's really no. It's pretty sad that can learn that here. The beaches of this town were practically your own personal backyard, and this has been a lot. It felt good knowing that you were helping to take care of them. Too bad another bay sees the joy in putting trash up the line. Oh well. Yeah, I try not to litter. Not just on the beach, but everywhere I go. No place in Santa said, simply pulling at the corners of his mouth as he admired the work he was doing. You began to realize during your time volunteering for the organization how seriously Cove took his service. It was easy to see that it was something important to him. I just can't take anything else. It's important that the ocean you grew up with was protected, and had always been a big part of your life, and you felt that the least you could do was give back to it in some way. Hey, nice work, Jules. Thanks. It's been a good year so far. It's crazy to think that already tend to push the big event, the big rep into the formal dinner that Orca organized every year. I think I mentioned before, orcas are my favorite whale. They're so great! In a completely fundraising-focused event for large donors, it was crucial for the organization's projects in the year to come. You had to be over 18 to attend, so this is your first opportunity to actually see it in person. All you had heard about it so far was that it was a prim and proper location with beaches and everything. You didn't know what else to expect from it, as you weren't part of the group who planned the evening. Before the big night came around, the volunteers would have to sell the tickets for it, and that's where you'd be helping. I'm nervous. He looked at the sunshine, twisting fingers together. It's going to be fancy and full of very important speakers. I could agree with you there. Let's play the program, though.
I mean...
I just don't feel excited about attending a super formal meal with proper etiquette and stuff, you know? He threw his arms out to the side, making a bit of a show at how ridiculous it seemed to him. I've got sand all over my room and only one nice shirt, and I go barefoot pretty much whenever I can. I'm going to be so out of place. Right, I bet you'd rather stay out here. This is where you really belong, not in white-collar society. Overall gave you a sidelong glance. You know me too well. A small beeping noise came from his coat pant pocket, and he pulled it out and glanced at the screen.
Huh?
The organizers just sent text to the group. Time to call it a day here. Alright, ready to head to our next activity? Don't text and fell away equally. Turn to you. Let's head over and drop the trash bags off at the truck. Then we can drive back and join the ticket team. Gotta be there pretty soon to release them. The stretcher showed this time that plan was to switch places with the other team who had been pushing the tickets for the fundraising dinner halfway through. It would be a full day of work, but it was Orca's largest event of the year, and all hands were on deck to make sure it was a success. High five. Those palms slapped solidly against yours, and he smiled at you crookedly. You collected the trash bags, settling your way together, heading across the beach to place them into the trucks before heading off to the next stop. The drive back to your neighborhood and making your way to the shopping street was fairly quick, so Cove stressed a little about being late. Luckily, he was able to find a parking spot nice and close to where you needed to be, jumped out of the car, and quickly went towards where you knew the group would be. Finally reaching the stall that was set up to sell tickets, you stopped for a moment to catch your breath. That was quite the flurry of activity. It would be your job for the rest of the afternoon to help sell tickets for the fundraising dinner, and looking around the street, you saw that there were plenty of potential buyers out there today. That would hopefully help to move the tickets along. The stall itself was simple, a portable table with a few plushy animals as decorations, and a banner stuck across the front. There were two volunteers who were already packing up and getting ready to head off to the beach. They gave you both a friendly smile as you arrived. Hey, Cove, Jules, how'd things go at the beach?
Not bad.
It's good. The place is looking great. We're lucky to get a 2-for-1 when it comes to you guys. Cove rolled his eyes and ran a hand through his seafoam-colored hair. Here we go again. That's right, that's us. We're joined at the hip, some might say. The volunteers chuckled and packed up the last of their stuff, and Cove seemed to relax a little more. The volunteers made room for you and Cove behind the table while they circled around to the front of it. Thanks for coming in for a shift. We better make this quick so we can head off to the next place. Yeah, fine. We're ready for whatever is needed. One of the volunteers handed you a clipboard with all the details needed to sell tickets, while the other tossed a set of keys to Cove, which he caught keys. Those are for the money box supply kit. Make sure to keep them on you at all times. Besides handing the cash for the tickets, there's also a form on the clipboard for the guests to fill in their info. That way we know how many tickets we've sold and who will be attending the event. There's a small script beneath that if you get stuck for what to say, and that's about it. Pretty simple, huh? I think we've got this. Satisfied that you knew what you were doing, the volunteers said their goodbyes and started walking away, leaving you and Cove to manage the stall alone. The key jingled in his hand as Cove waved them off before he stuffed them into the pocket of his pants for safekeeping. Bye, have fun! Once the volunteers were out of sight, Cove dropped down into a chair behind the counter with a sigh. We made it here just in time. It's cool we traded places with nothing happening. They might have been late getting to cleanup duty. He leaned back in his seat, getting fully comfortable in the space, and gave you a small smile. I'm going to sit down too, because it's uncomfortable to stand. Even if your body is in relatively good condition, which, considering how active your character is, or can be, that would be unlikely. But when it's got a bad back or a bad hip, that makes it worse. It was just a simple plastic chair with squeaky and sat on it, but it gave you a good view of the street. Things could still go wrong. Things could go anything at all. But we could hunt for him and became the dozens of people strolling back and forth, shopping and chatting. Really saw at least one with all these people around. That's why they picked that spot, probably. I'm sure there are others around. Go rummage around the station while picking up a soft white orca and holding it up in front of his face. I have to admit that's pretty cute with big bulging eyes and oversized flippers. Getting back down on top of the table, Cove moved on to check out what we saw by a cooler stashed beneath the table. When he pulled it out and opened the lid, you could see those filled with half-melted ice cubes and about half a dozen bottles of water. Grabbing one of the plastic bottles, he unscrewed the cap and took a long drink. He watched the condensation run along the side and onto his fingers.
So?
You want one? He'll put his water on his side of the table before pouring out another, holding it out towards you. Yes. Thanks. He opened it up, took a drink, and let out a satisfied sigh. You hadn't realized how thirsty he had been, and it was always good to stay hydrated. Definitely. And then I was great. When I was younger, I wasn't very good about staying hydrated, but I started keeping at least a glass of something to drink near me while I'm on the computer because I spend so much time there, and that's helped me stay hydrated. I'm doing something like this. I need to keep drinking in order to keep be able to keep talking. The two of you got settled than usual, and you took the chance to look over the paperwork on the clipboard. I was going to lean over your shoulder to get a better look. Seems like a pretty standard stuff. Married and you nodded quietly, and it's general info about the event and the work, and the work you need to do at the stall, as well as the amount of tickets sold thus far and the number remaining. Cove tapped your finger on the counter as you worked quietly over the house, muttering a few things now and then that you didn't fully hear. Seemed content to be there, and you were sure that the afternoon would pass by quickly. When he glanced out towards the crowd and made a small sound, he paused with Johnny's side to see if a potential supporter was on their way over to the booth. Try to relax. Oh no, it was pretty easy touch. We're sure that you and Cove were going to do great at it. You give the customer an easygoing smile, casually flowing into conversation with them. Time passes as two of you man the stall, and as people approach, your sales pitch would either have them ask you for a ticket or two, or hang out and mumbling, maybe next time. You know, you mentioned so a decent amount of tickets, but you could tell that Cove was happy with the outcome. As the afternoon drifted along, 6 p.m. arrived, time to pack everything up and head home for the evening. Work with Orca was far from over, but right now there was only one thing left to focus on, attending the actual event. The days continued on in their normal flow, and before long the night of Orca fundraising dinner was upon you. It was early evening, and you were in your room getting ready as the minutes ticked closer and closer towards the time you needed to leave. Let's help us out. You stood around with her considering different items while she sat on the edge of your bed, lips pursed tight. She'd given a firm yes or no to each item you showed her, which had now reduced her options down to small piles to choose from. The event has strict guidelines, so you wouldn't be let in unless you were dressed to code. That meant having to buy a truly professional outfit, one that you were also happy with. You wanted to be practical. It would be quite a long evening, so you wanted to make sure you were dressed comfortably while sticking to the letter of the code. Your nose wrinkled in thought as you rifled through the options, silently weighing the pros and cons of each.
That's fine.
You don't need to get too in your head and think about the look, but you do need to hurry up and pick something. It really shouldn't be this difficult to pick something out. You just need to take the plunge and do it. Take a deep breath to refocus yourself, and you looked over the options one last time. It's time to decide on an outfit, and quick. Pots and pans. There's not in approval, clapping your hands together satisfied.
Good.
Finally, you were making some progress. Standing in front of your mirror, you quietly assess your outfit. And you know something extra to finish it all off. On looking through the rest of your wardrobe, you picked out what you needed to complete your outfit. A watch. That's a good blouse. Well, that could work. It's a formal event after all, and you couldn't think of a better time to wear it. Pair of earrings. Be sure to put on a pair of earrings to match your outfit. Or at that time was running short. And that's it. And with that, bringing up in front of the mirror again, spoke over your shoulder. Do you think you could help with some makeup for tonight? Absolutely. I'll show you everything I know. You're welcome for that. Thank you. But that leaves really got into gear. She worked definitely to apply all the details without holding you up too long, all while keeping you informed on what was happening to your face. Finally, you were dressed. It had all come together. Cove sent through a text saying his friends to the car and would see you in a bit. When he looked at Liz again, she had a goofy smile pulling at her lips. You look very nice, Jules. Taking a glance at the mirror, you knew the outfit you picked was the right choice. Liz liked to pretend tear away with her fingers, sniffling dramatically. Oh, our precious Jules are really all grown up. Happened in the blink of an eye when I wasn't even looking. She chuckled to herself, nudging you towards the door.
All
right, time to get downstairs. Cove awaits. You carefully headed down the stairs and into the living room where your moms were waiting for your appearance. As you entered, they both stood on the couch and came over to you, smiling broadly. You look so wonderful, Jules.
Nice.
And very mature, too. I know, right? They continued to cool us over your two managed to brush them off. Ma took Mom by the arm and held her close. The two of them admired you proudly. Thank you. It felt a little strange to have everyone's attention on you, but you liked it nonetheless. They smiled at you from where she stood, her expression soft. Ma came in to give you one last hug, and before you knew it, another pair of arms was wrapped around you, and then a third. Both Mom and Liz giggled as they hugged you tight. We hope you have so much fun tonight.
Have fun.
They won't wait up for you. Stay out as long as you need. You're old enough now. With the last wave goodbye, you left your family and approached the front door. It was time. Stepping out into the night, you closed the door behind you gently and looked out across the street. Cove was standing there as expected, next to the garage of his house and tapping away on his phone. He looked up at the sound of the door closing. Hey, Jules. Hey, I hope you're ready to do this. He took the chance to check over his outfit as he walked across the way to meet you. It was formal for sure, though it didn't feel overly polished. It made sense for him. He looked you over as well, a big smile on his face. You look great, Jules. Yeah, well, I hope you take it all in while you can, because there's a good chance you won't be seeing me in anything like this again. Damn, Cove, you're so hot right now, he said teasingly. I have a bad habit of not actually reading those out loud. I'm sorry. He laughed as Cove pulled out at the collar of his shirt, making an uncomfortable face. He laughed at the reaction. Then he shook his head, glanced back across the garage, and throwing a thumb over his shoulder.
Come on.
We should probably get going. We wouldn't want to be late to such a grown-up event, right? Yeah, let's go. You headed over to Cove's car together, hopping in and strapping on your seatbelt. You were on your way. I like that they specified seatbelts, because I know a seatbelt seatbelts have definitely saved lives. They left bruises, but they saved lives. So make sure you wear your seatbelt, kids. The event was being held at a place you had never been to before. You brought up the location on your phone to help Cove navigate there. It took some time to find the right address, and once there, you were met with the task of finding a parking spot. So you were on time. It seemed like everyone else had already showed up and claimed the spaces. Eventually, you found a suitable place before realizing they required payment. Cove covered the amount, taking a ticket from the machine and leaving it on the dashboard of the car. I hate that. So annoying. Despite the small holdup, you managed to ultimately make it to the event and confirm you were in the guest list before being shown into the dining area. See. Cove whistled low as he looked around, taking in the extravagance of the room. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the entire place was decked out with beautiful oceanic displays. Yeah, that's definitely fancier than the country club. That was outside, too. You were stunned yourself. It was extremely high class, even more so than you had already expected. That's the good event I've ever been to. Your lips fired in a wondrous smile as you took in the decorations and the guests all dressed to the nines. Tom met your eyes with a similar look on his face. He got the impression that he felt the same way about it all. Sound of your names being called out echoed over the din in the room. When you looked around, you recognized a couple of the organization leaders looking your way. They approached you both in greetings, giving you a welcoming smile and a hello. Oh, Jules, we're glad you could make it, especially after all the hard work you've done to help make this night happen.
Of course.
Definitely, I wasn't going to miss it. Hello, I'm thrilled to have made it. That's just amazing. It's so nice to do something like this. Well, thank you for being a part of the team. You're always welcome to help us out with activities whenever they come up. Thank you. So shrugged then, eyes started around the place with an awkward look.
So...
Guess we should talk to more people. There isn't much else to do at an event like this. Excuse me. You found your way into groups of people who were standing around chatting while some light music played in the background. Servers with large silver trays were lined between the guests, offering drinks and canapes. I know how those are pronounced. I think when I was little, I thought they were pronounced canapes. It wouldn't surprise me if almost everyone thought that, unless they were heard it before I saw it. Canapé is French. Of course it's French. It's the type of hors d'oeuvre, a small prepared and often decked for their food, consisting of a small piece of bread, sometimes toasted, puff pastry or a cracker wrapped or topped with some savory food held in the fingers and often eaten in one bite. The name comes from the French word for sofa, drawing an analogy that the garter sits atop the bread, as people do on a couch. Sorry, I can't resist looking up what that was actually supposed to mean. Cove is clearly hesitant to actually approach the people, but is able to respond when various people greeted him first. You were enjoying talking to so many different people, both guests and members of the organization alike, and found yourself enjoying the company. The sound of a microphone crackling came from the podium at the other end of the room. Someone who you assume must be the host for the evening was asking everyone to sit down in preparation for the meal and speeches. You and Cove looked for a table, finding it easily enough by the little name cards that were placed delicately beside the napkins. Oh, good. I was wondering about that. I hate not having assigned seats. Few others joined at the table, though there weren't anyone that you recognized. The host was still speaking before Sally, starting off the speeches by giving a welcome to everyone attending. She went on to provide some more information about Orca, which is supposed for the guests who weren't part of the organization, the purpose of the fundraiser tonight. Orca's goals, as she explained it, were to aid in the conservation and restoration of oceans and beaches. There were many people who had helped to make the group as successful as it was. When she read off a list of several volunteers who worked on making the event happen, Cove's name was one of the first to come up. His cheeks flushed with shy pride at that. Your name then came up a little further down the list. You were smiling from ear to ear at the mention. As she continued on to thank the large donors for the event, you checked over at Cove. He was still grinning happily to himself and tapped his fingers over the tops of his knees, pretty pleased to have been mentioned by name. You were late. It felt good to be acknowledged for all the work you had done leading up to the event. You likely had kept smiling without even realizing it. While the host continued speaking, multiple servers dressed in black were setting the first course on the menu in front of guests. One of the servers set down a plate in front of you, and he thanked them quietly before looking at the dishes with interest. You recognized the dish as a simple Caesar salad. The host quickly wrapped up the end of her speech, thanking everyone once more before inviting you all to begin your meal. Anyone who had included a special dietary note when signing up for the event received a vegan or vegetarian version, and there were also small baskets of bread set around the table. It's very odd to say this, but I'm not a huge fan of bread. But I cannot resist Olive Garden breadsticks. I'm also not a big fan of cheese, to be honest. I don't know why. But I will happily eat a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm odd like that. Okay. I haven't rolled a dice in a while. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure, didn't need anything. Really? Really? One time you don't roll a one. And actually, I've never had Caesar salad. So, we're going to do that again. Let's do 6 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay, we'll just have some bread. Cove will stand aside before munching to a breadstick, quietly devouring that as well. I hope the next part comes out soon and is bigger. You can hear him mumbling to himself as he reached over for another piece of bread. He glanced around the table and he followed his line of sight with curiosity, knowing that everyone else was still eating the salad. Wrapping his hand in midair, he put his foot back without taking another breadstick after all. He knew that he was starting to feel unsure of himself, and he looked a little out of place here. He folded in his arms and turned away from them to you. You didn't like the salad? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I'm not very hungry. I get it. His gaze remained perfectly tunneled beneath it, just trying not to even think about what the rest of the table might be doing. Let's do this. It's okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, picked up my breadstick and gave it to Cove. In case, keep forgetting that there might be people who can't read the screen. Cove spoke gently as he took the bread from your hand, looking choked up by your reassurance. He munched away on it happily, seeming much more at ease. It wasn't much longer until the main course was arrived and the various chicken, steak, and veggie dishes were being served throughout the room. If I remember right, to come up that Jewel food the vegetarian. I can't say my character because I have 2 now. I have Jess and Jules. The ray of sense wafted through the room, making your mouth water. Vegetarian. It opted for the vegetarian dish, and the meal that was set in front of you looked so delicious that you couldn't wait to check in. I suppose if you indicate if you're pescatarian or one of the others, then that would be an option. He looked off for a steak, and once he started to dig in, he was completely absorbed by his meal. Yeah, he definitely starts as the type who gets focused on food. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if I can get something besides a 1 or a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, got a 1. You can't choke us to keep inhaling your food like that, without even looking up from the dish. Most of the people here can do CPR, so it'll be fine. She shook her head in amusement as they continued fervently eating at the same pace. Dinner eventually ended, and left us all with dessert, a lemon sorbet that had been partially dyed blue. The mix of white with bold streaks of blue made the little scoop look like a ball of roaring ocean waves. That is cool. The effect was very pretty, but the serving size was small. Perhaps it was the price to pay for the artistry, interposed by imparting a little exercise of it. Digging into the dessert, it took him only a few bites to polish it off. Again, the other people around the table had barely even begun eating. An unimpressed air settled over him as he sat back in his chair, sipping at his water unhappily. You can get more dessert later, he gave him an encouraging smile. He looked up at me sheepishly, embarrassed to have been caught sulking over such a thing. He fumbled for a defense. It was just really good, that's all, and now it's gone. But I'm okay. This light grin he shrugged it to show that he was really fine. Would you like a bite of mine? He took a spoonful of your sorbet and offered it to him, holding a hand beneath it to avoid any trips. His eyes widened as he eyed his dessert hungrily, surprised by the offer. Covering quickly leaned forward over the table, lifting out of the chair a little as he ate the treat from your spoon. He sat back, humming happily with his mouth full. You couldn't help but smile at the sight. Cove swallowed the full ocean and let out a satisfied sigh. Even though it wasn't that much more, the simple fact could have gotten more hit the spot.
Thanks,
Jules. You're welcome. This wasn't the first time he'd gotten a sample from you. It seemed you couldn't help but indulge Cove. Another participant worker got up on stage to make a speech as everyone was nearing the end of their meal. They spoke mostly about the individual projects that the organization was working on and its plans for the near future, as well as encouraging anyone who's interested to consider volunteering. Cove bent forward over the table with his chin balanced on a hand, listening attentively to the words. As they came to a conclusion and everyone gave them a round of applause, Cove caught his eye and smiled. He wondered what would happen now. And then the lights dimmed. A couple of spotlights came on, projecting a water light effect around the room. The guest gushed over the ambiance, and he looked around with wide eyes at the ripples on the walls. The DJ that had previously been playing some soft mood music in the background announced that the floor was open for dancing, slowly turned the volume up so it drifted to the stage. He glanced at Cove, his eyebrows had shot up, and he mumbled quietly.
Huh.
I didn't know that there would be dancing. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. Gave an awkward laugh as they both watched as people rose from their seats. It was clear now that many of the donors were couples. A small crowd had started to form on the dance floor, and the DJ played a romantic song to get everyone started off. Cove popped an elbow on the table again, smooshed his cheek on his hand as the eyely led gaze flowed over the small sea of guests. Look, even, pointing with my fingers, use cursor, dumbass. Sorry, should not call myself a dumbass. Use a cursor, really. These includes the water light effect on Cove himself. That is so cool. It goes with this shirt. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Three. Stay seated. You didn't really want to dance at all, because I was simply watching everyone else for a while. Relaxed at the table, you let the music wash over you while you observed the dancers swirling, spinning, and swaying out on the dance floor. It's nice to just sit quietly for a moment, enjoying the atmosphere. After a little while, Cove broke the silence. A lot has happened, huh? You know, I was baiting. You weren't sure if we met just today, this summer, or the entire time knowing each other. It didn't really matter. It was true either way. Thinking back on the years that you and Cove had been neighbors, it was difficult to even try to reflect on it all at once.
I'm so glad.
I'm glad we ended up here. He gave you a soft look, knowing that it would also mean many things. From his tone, you were certain he didn't only mean here at this event. There's more than that. I almost want to go back and go look for someone else for dance work. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back. Try to find someone to dance with. To give a small noise and acknowledgement and to look out over the crowd yourself. There was bound to be someone here that you knew could volunteer and who you could dance with. As you from your seat, you headed over to the dance floor and circled around the outskirts, checking for someone who might be available to partner up with. It didn't take long to find a friendly face, and as you danced with and spoke to various people throughout the night, you made some new friends and had a great time with them. In a quiet moment, you got back on the night of the summer soiree at the country club. It had been similar to this night in a way, but definitely not as official. That was the first time you danced with Baxter, and you remembered it well. Thinking back on that night in the country, it felt like both so far away, but also near. The party eventually started to wind down, and at last it came to an end. When the main lights turned on, you blinked against the brightness of them, making sure you still had Cove in your sight. 1 second. There's someone waiting in my room. Hey. Silly cat. Where are you going? Paddle first, and then you can get up from the window or wherever else. Okay? Okay. Yep, up in the window he goes. There he goes. My silly cat. The car speaker came up to the podium on stage, thanking all the guests for coming and wishing everyone a good night. It's been a long night and you're ready to be on your way. Stepping around the back of your hand, you walked together with Cove at the parking lot. The other guests were good and since you guys stuck in a bit of a crowd. The Cove was so tall you could only see him, as he didn't have much to get separated. The parking lot itself was quite big, and even more noticeable now with fewer cars blocking the view. It took a little while to actually locate Cove flower across its fiance. Eventually you find it, and the two of you bundled inside the vehicle and buckled in. Your home was quiet as you both silently reflected back on the experience. The event had been the biggest night of the year for Orchid, and now it's all over, just like that. Outside your window, the surroundings soon became familiar, and you find yourself back in the neighborhood. You pulled the car into its driveway and put it in park before letting out a relieved breath. Home sweet home. Yeah. As you climb out of the car, you walk slowly down the road, without Cove coming over to stand down to the road. Excuse me. I can read, really. My mouth gets ahead of me. Look at my eyes. I think it's my eyes get ahead of me. Cove coming over to stand beside you. He's out in the middle of the street, right between your house and his. Turns to him, finding him in the process of opening his mouth to speak. Strangely, his clumps of lips together, as though he had suddenly thought better of it. It was quite a night. Cove let out a breathy laugh, nodding in agreement. Yeah, it was. Hey! Someone's doing something they shouldn't. Are you gonna keep messing with the window? Nope. You are ridiculous. I can take my cat, by the way. Just an eraser, please. No, that's not your eraser. It's my eraser. Stop that. Sit down. Now what? Okay, sorry. Cats are very distracting. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4, 0. Wave goodbye. Yuki, what are you doing? No. Do I have to kick you out? Okay, wave goodbye. He flaps his arms at you and what might have just been called the way back. It was as though he were about to drop where he stood.
Night.
It's Jules. With the last whisper smile, he left towards the front door. Figuring he shouldn't linger in the street for much longer, you crossed the remainder of the road and did the same. When you reached your house, you pulled out your keys and stuck them in the door, trying your best to be silent about it. Opening the door a crack, you turned back and looked at Cove from over your shoulder. Barbara was listening in surprise to see he was doing the same, holding his front door open, waiting for you to go inside before he did. You sure didn't make smoke, so you both kept into your own houses, locking the door behind you. It was quite late, so everyone else was already asleep. Quiet as a mouse, you tiptoed up to your bedroom and checked, and before one closed into your pajamas. Now that you're finally home, you were exhausted. You brushed your teeth and got ready for bed in darkness, before crawling under the covers, letting out a heavy breath. It was still strange to think about how that was it. The build-up to the event had felt like so much more completely behind you. Someone is being a pill. Your mind was busy with rapid yet muddled thoughts as you faded closer and closer to sleep. Unconsciousness creeped up on you. As unconsciousness creeped up on you, you felt more content. It was a big deal, but there would be more in the future. You could accept what it had been, and you could dream about what you'd get to experience next. Shadow, get out of my closet. Get out of there. GBPatch, go. Yes, we're casting his shadow because he's great. And then you're taken away from dreams right back into reality by a sound. Everyone's pinched together, fully unprepared to be a part of the waking world again. The day was over and it had been an eventful one. But you heard another noise. It was tapping. Your eyes flew open. The window, there's a tapping that came from your window. It was open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. Slowly force yourself to get up. I'm tired. What are you doing here? Grab yourself out of bed. Look at the swing back. You rolled in and sank to the floor. Rose for a second there to let your half asleep brain process back. You're mostly on your feet now. There's another tap at the window. You shuffled towards the window. Something akin to a zombie. Literally, you opened the window and there was Cove. You blinked at him. You had not been surprised. You're not been surprised to find Cove awkwardly crouched on your window ledge. However, you were taken back to see they're still a little overdressed. Cove hadn't changed out of his formal clothes. You also noticed that he was perched clumsily. You didn't know if it was because he was trying to keep his fancy clothes. You felt weird about something. His body was too stiff and awkward. Even given that Cove was normally all thumbs, he looked off balance, significantly more than usual. Cove smiled sheepishly. Hey, Jules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da-da-da-da-da-da. 5. If you look at a clock, it's too late for this. You moved aside and let him climb inside. He cautiously stepped down by stretching his legs over. Strangely, he didn't use his hands for support. No to you now. He was holding something. When he safely on his feet, he briefly checked out his clothes, twisted and rinsed to the back of his pants. Thought you looked good and correct.
I
I did go home after the event, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to settle down, so I just walked back out. I needed fresh air and time away from everything. As for a moment, raised his clasped together hands where you could see them. But then something happened, and well, I have something I want to show you. So grinned like a child and gently unfurled his fingers, not being able to keep you in suspense for even a minute. Carefully sitting inside was a tiny yellow light, then off and then on again. The firefly. Aww, sweetie! Delicately moved his hand closer to see the creature better. They're back. Closed his eyes, his smile now faintly illuminated by his insect companion. That is adorable. Remember the first time I caught one? I was always thrilled. I barely managed anything because of that neon pink cat I was stuck with all summer. We were still stunned by what was happening, but couldn't help snickering when Cove did. It's nice to see that I finally held the firefly in my own hands. I was happy to. Honestly, I didn't think I'd see them this year. I don't know why. It's just, it was kind of late, and I guess I've been worrying about a lot of stuff lately. You tell that the firefly generally lifted his spirits. He seemed at peace. I wanted to share that with you. The fact that his first flight after discovering the fireflies was to come over and celebrate the joy with you made you suddenly feel very cherished. Cove opened his eyes, but he looked away, not meeting yours.
It's nice.
It's really nice, I think. Even if the fireflies disappear for a while, it doesn't mean they're really gone. They'll come back. I can see them again. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. Technically, fireflies aren't even gone. They're just eggs and larvae. He laughed and shook his head, amused. He gestured for him to go on, and he nodded. Cove looked at your face, her smile now fragile. It makes you think about the two of us. We're together, then say goodbye, and then we're together again. We have to stay year after year, and even if our counterpart gets longer, that doesn't make it forever. You'll always be there whenever you want to see me. Cove. 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. Come on, Cove, you're being sassy. Ruffled his hair. Stepped around the firefly in his hands to reach him, but still flew off, startled. No sense in mind. That was accepted your affectionate fluff of black hair. Cove chuckled, suddenly shy. Then he put his arm around your neck and relaxed into the half hug. Cove looked at you, affection playing in his face. Hey, do you want to go out to the hill? The fireflies are still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe another night. He smiled a little more, very softly.
Good night.
It's okay. Good night. His voice was quiet but content. The part that mattered happened, and he couldn't be disappointed with that. Right, Cove. Cove looked at your bedroom door and then back at the window. He made a decision and started to head towards his personal exit. It's really better if I don't get caught. He gave you one last smile as he saw him off. His hand was a lot more graceful now that he wasn't holding a living creature. He waved at you from the ground and then disappeared into the night behind the side of the house. You stayed at your window for a minute longer. You could see a firefly in the distance. It was right. You may have said farewell for today. It's only for now. You'll see him again. There we go. I thought that was the end of that moment, but obviously there's more to it. I think I'll hold back on the next one. So, 2, 4, 6, at least 3 more weeks. Probably 4. And I think the only DLC out for Spec 4 is the wedding DLC for Cove. But they are going to do DLC if you romance Derek or Baxter. But neither of those are out as far as I know. I think the only Spec 4 DLC out is the wedding DLC. But sales from that have helped fund their development of the next Real Life game, which is I forget what it's called. I have it on my wish list, and I don't remember what it's called. There is a demo for it, so I will probably play that once I finish this, or I may just eventually give in and do a stream over the weekend. Real Life now. That's what the next one is. So, in the 40th survival is Cove Holden story. So the developers have other games available. So if you like our life, go ahead and check out GBPatch Games. I will have to check out some of their other games myself. And for now, that's it. Please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Since I did not get to the DLC, there will not be a link to the Step 3 DLC in the description, but there is will be a link to the base game in the description. Looks like the next stream I will be starting on the DLC mode, so that's when I'll start including that link. I do not have the wedding DLC yet. I don't know if I will live stream it. But yeah, so for now, that's it. Next week I should be fine for streaming on Wednesday. The week after will be Wednesday or Thursday. And my sibling with health problems may need me to take them somewhere on that Wednesday. But I hope that even if I have to take them somewhere on Wednesday, I'll have Thursday free. And if I don't have either of those days free, then I'll figure something like that. And so I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and I will see you next time. Take care.